The old village of Silverbrook nestled in a valley where time seemed to flow slower, marked primarily by the magnificent town hall clock master horologist Elias Thornwood had built it decades ago. Pouring his soul into every gleaming brass gear and polished oak panel, it wasn't just a timekeeper, it was the village's steady heartbeat, its chimes echoing through cobbled streets at dawn, noon, and dusk. Elias, now white-haired and slightly stooped, lived in a cottage workshop beneath its tower. Surrounded by the comforting scent of oil and aged with the rhythmic tick-tock was his constant companion, a sound as familiar and essential as his own breath. He loved the clock like a living thing, polishing its face tenderly and listening intently to its inner workings every day, ensuring its song never faltered. One harsh winter morning, a silence fell over Silverbrook more profound than any snowfall. The great clock, after faithfully chiming the 6th hour, gave a final, shuddering groan and fell utterly still. Elias felt the silence like a physical blow. He rushed up the winding tower stairs, his heart pounding in rhythm with the absence of sound inside the chamber. The scene was heartbreaking. A vital gear, overstressed by years of relentless motion, had fractured clean through. Several smaller cogs lay scattered nearby, dislodged in the catastrophic failure. The delicate pendulum hung motionless, a prisoner in its own cage. Elias carefully gathered the broken pieces, his skilled hands trembling. He knew instantly this was beyond simple repair. The heart of his creation, and the heart of Silverbrook, was shattered. Days turned into weeks. Elias worked tirelessly in his dim workshop. Surrounded by schematics and tools, he crafted replacement parts with exquisite precision, his brow furrowed in deep concentration. Yet, each time he reassembled the intricate mechanism within the tower, the clock remained stubbornly silent. It might tick hesitantly for a few minutes, a fragile imitation of its former strength, only to seize again with a jarring clunk. The silence became a heavy blanket smothering the village. People felt adrift, glancing anxiously at the blank clock face. Elias grew gaunt, his eyes shadowed with despair. He felt he had failed his life's work, his community, and the memory of his own younger, hopeful self. The workshop, once a haven, felt like a tomb filled with the ghosts of ticking seconds. A small, persistent knock broke Elias's solitude one gloomy afternoon. Opening the door, he found young Elara standing there, clutching a worn cloth doll. Elara, whose parents ran the bakery, was known for her quiet nature and a voice as pure and clear as a mountain stream. She often sat on the steps near the silent tower, humming softly to herself. "Master Thornwood?" she asked softly, her large eyes filled with concern that seemed too old for her face. "The clock, it sounds so sad now. It's just quiet, and the quiet feels lonely." Elias sighed, a sound heavy with the weight of weeks. "It is broken deep inside." "Child," he murmured, gesturing wearily towards the tower, "I fear its song is lost forever." Elara didn't leave. Instead, she stepped cautiously into the workshop, her gaze drawn to the scattered brass components glinting on Elias' workbench. She reached out a small finger, not touching, just hovering near a fractured gear. A strange sense of stillness washed over her. Without a word, she walked towards the narrow staircase leading up into the clock tower itself. Elias, too weary and surprised to stop her, followed slowly. They stood together in the hushed chamber where the giant, motionless mechanism loomed. The air was thick with dust and the scent of cold metal. Elara tilted her head back, looking up at the silent bells. Then, softly at first, she began to hum. It was a simple, wordless melody, gentle and sweet, like sunlight filtering through leaves. As Elara's voice grew stronger, filling the stone chamber, something extraordinary happened. A faint, answering click echoed within the frozen clockwork. Elias gasped, holding his breath. Elara, encouraged, closed her eyes and let the melody flow freely. It wasn't a song anyone knew. It was a song born of pure feeling, comfort, hope, and a deep, simple wish for the clock to be well again. Her clear notes seemed to shimmer in the air as she sang. A soft, golden light began to emanate from deep within the clock's intricate structure. It wasn't a reflection. It seemed to glow from the brass itself, growing warmer and brighter with each pure note Elara offered. Elias watched, tears welling in his eyes, as the light pulsed gently in time with the child's song. Then came the sound Elias had almost forgotten how to hope for, a deep, resonant tick, then another, stronger tock. The great pendulum gave a visible shudder and began to swing, slowly at first, then with gathering confidence. One by one, the dislodged cogs Elias had struggled with clicked seamlessly back into place. The fractured gear, bathed in that warm, internal light, seemed to knit itself together, the brass mending as if by magic. With a final, triumphant surge of Elara's voice, the clockwork whirred to full, vibrant life. The magnificent bells high above chimed out the hour, a deep, joyous peal that shattered the heavy silence, and rolled out over Silverbrook, echoing from the hills. From that day on, the Silverbrook clock kept flawless time, its chimes ringing out clear and strong. But those who listened closely, especially in the quiet moments just before dawn, swore they could sometimes hear a faint, sweet echo of a Childero's melody woven into the familiar notes. Elias Thornwood found his smile again, and his workshop became a place where he not only tended to timepieces, but often shared tea and stories with Elara. The broken clock had been healed, not by tools alone, but by a song that reached into the very soul of the machine, proving that sometimes the deepest wounds, even those within cold brass and aged wood, respond best to the warmth of a pure and loving heart. And the village remembered, whenever they heard the chimes, that healing could come in the most unexpected and beautiful ways.